Now on the smaller round stuff, what I usually do when I'm cutting wood for myself is anything 8 inches and below, I don't even touch. I don't split. My brother-in-law said that he likes to have it 6 inches and lower, don't split, but anything over 6 inches split. So however he wants it is how I'm going to do it. This one's about 6.5 inches, so this one would probably be okay to leave, but I'll go ahead and chop her in half. Now on these small pieces, most of the time you can just hit it in one lick and lay it open, so it's usually not that bad. Prove me wrong. Probably this one. See, there's a knot there. Okay, this one's a little tricky. It's got this big limb piece on the side of it. So what I'll do is try to split it as close to this side as I can. Or you can even just split off the side, like, see that? Good old stringy oak. Okay, this one's going to be real bad because it's got where the tree made a Y. So what I'm going to do when it has like a Y like this where there's 2 knots. Okay, on these pieces where there's like, you know, there's a heart there and a heart there. What I usually do is I'll just split half off of this side and half off of that side. And that's pretty much it. And in case you guys are wondering, it's about 63 degrees out here, so it's feeling good today. Okay, there's one half. See if we can manage to get this second half. There's kind of a knot there. Ooh. Okay. Just try it this way, see what happens. Alright, so that one actually split right through the knot, so that's unusual, but effective. So I guess I'll quit boring you guys with the same old thing over and over here with me splitting this wood. I mean, I enjoy doing it, but I don't know if it's very fun watching, so. But then again, when have I ever been real concerned with making a boring video, I guess. Alright, so this right here is the way I'm going to cut all my wood. I'm really glad to have this big trailer. This thing has been so useful. That little one just wasn't big enough, really. It was, but it wasn't. This one's just awesome. It's basically 4 feet by 6 feet long, and it'll hold 1,500 pounds, even though we found out from that gravel that the lawnmower can't handle that without spinning out. I mean, the lawnmower has enough power to pull that amount of weight, I imagine, if you could keep traction. But I'm not going to spend 200 bucks on a set of ag tires for that thing. I could just about get an old crappy used four-wheeler that barely runs for 200 bucks. But anyway, this should hold quite a bit of wood, because wood is, you know, not as heavy as fine gravel, I don't think, so. Anyway. And really, I should probably just chuck it in, since I don't have to go very far. But if I was to, you know, go up in the woods or whatever, I would go ahead and stack it all in here. That's just what I'm used to doing. And it really doesn't take that much more time. Really, I mean. Okay, so, see, that really doesn't take all that much time. And then you don't have a bunch of crap thrown all over the place. So now I'll go and pick that stuff up and stack it on that side, and then you'll have a little channel in the middle where you can throw odds and ends. I'm really enjoying doing this. I've always liked cutting wood. The only thing I didn't used to like about it was I used to cut with my uncle, my old uncle, the one that I did the homesteading video about. And for an old man, he worked my butt off. He was fast. So he used to cut with the chainsaw. He used to buck up the logs. And I used to follow right behind him with a splitting maul. And by the time he was about 3/4 of the way through the next piece, I had just loaded the last quarter into the trailer. So I could just keep right up with him as he was cutting with the saw on about, you know, 24-inch sticks or so. Obviously something smaller than that I could fall behind a little bit because the saw was so fast, but I don't know, just doing it at a slow pace like this, you know, in my own area is just a lot more enjoyable, especially since it's, you know, 63 degrees out here instead of 83 or 93, so. I always prefer to cut wood in the winter time. And I don't mean like this time of year. I'm only doing this because I owe this wood to my brother-in-law. What I always liked to do in the past was I would cut a year in advance. So, you know, I would burn during one winter the wood that I cut the winter before, and that winter, while I was burning the previous year's wood, I was cutting the next year's wood. And boy, you know, you can take the gnarliest piece of post oak or whatever you want, the hardest wood to split, locust or whatever, and go out there in about the middle of January where it's been under 20 degrees for a week straight during the daytime and down in single digits at nighttime. You crack a stick of wood with a splitting maul, it just explodes open. So the winter time is the absolute best time to cut wood. I mean, you'll probably see me this winter when it's, you know, 35, 40 degrees out here, dressed the same as I am right now. probably start off with a coat on, but it doesn't seem like it lasts too long. Alright, so I've got my little area set up here where I'm going to stack this wood. This little rock right here is exactly 8 foot. And I didn't place it there, it's down in the ground, so, but it was already there. But it's exactly 8 foot from the shed, so that's my ending point. And then since there's a pretty good hillside right here, I laid one of my rough cut 2x4s right there on the ground to try to kind of, you know, level out the pile a little bit. Then I don't know if you'll be able to see or not. Yeah, that red line right there is 4 foot. And then I've got one there too. So I've got all my parameters for where to stack. I don't know if it matters or not, but when I do a wood pile, I usually always start with some split pieces. I usually put it about 2.5 inches apart. Not real far apart, almost right slammed up against each other. That way the one wood pile supports the other one. I know a lot of people put space between them for drying and whatnot, but in this point, or in this example especially, it really doesn't matter, because the only reason I'm stacking it up here is to measure how much wood I've got, so I know when I've got a cord. Because it's obviously, the wood pile is going to be moved from here to my brother-in-law's house, so I'm going to have to, you know, pick all this back up, take it over there, and then restack it over there. So this is basically just kind of a measuring thing. That was a little piece. I also try not to make too many gaps. Like right here between these two pieces is only a 4-inch gap or so. So if I put another round piece on there, it's going to stick up and there'll just be wasted space down in there. And if you were cutting it for money for somebody and you do crap like that, you're pretty much cheating them. So try not to do that. See, I always take like a little half-C piece like this and then just drop down in there so it's a tight stack. Because that's what a cord is, it's tightly stacked. It's not big rounds stacked up on top of each other. Alrighty. Well, there's our start. I'm going to stop recording what I'm doing now. I got about 15 minutes left on the camera, so I'm going to go ahead and cut up the rest of what I got down here, split it up, stack it, and I'll come back with a short segment when I get ready to leave. Alright guys, so here's the wood pile. I got all those logs cleaned up. And then all those logs are cleaned up. So I cleaned up all those scrap logs and stuff I had down here. So basically I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Cleaned up the place a little bit. And got right at about a half of a cord of wood out of it. So I've got about that much more wood to go. Which really isn't that bad. I mean, I was going super slow today, so, you know, for a lazy fat guy like me to cut, you know, a cord in, you know, a full day basically. I'm sure somebody a little more spry than me could do a lot more than that. I remember me and my uncle, I think we cut like 18 rank of wood in 2 days when I was probably, you know, 17 years old. So, you know, 3 rank to a cord, so 6 cords in 2 days. 3 cords a day between a 17-year-old and a 60-year-old, so, you know, people could do more than this, but I'm just doing it lazy style, just going real slow and not really pushing it, because I actually enjoy being out here when it's nice and cool like this. It's probably, 59 or 60 degrees right now, so it feels real good. But basically, what I'm doing here is, instead of going up the 4 feet, I was just going to go, you know, and kind of round it up right there, since there's nothing to stack it against here. But I measured this stack, and the top's pretty level there. It's exactly 3 feet tall. So I did a little bit of figuring on my cup here, and I came out with, I think it was 10.5 feet long by 3 foot tall by 4 foot wide equals right at a cord of wood. So, you know, if you only wanted to go 3 foot tall instead of 4, just know that you got to go 10.5 feet long. And let's see, I don't remember. I think it was 128 cubic feet in a cord of wood. And this 10.5 foot by 3 foot tall came out to be 126. So like 2 cubic feet less than a cord. So just throw a couple extra sticks in there to make up for it and you're good. So anyway, this is exactly the end of this pile, 6 feet long. So, you know, I've only got another, 4.5 feet to go and 3 foot tall. So I'm about halfway there. So, and pretty much every bit of that is oak. Well, I know every single bit of it is oak, but, you know, about 95% of it's white oak. So that stuff ought to be some good burning stuff. Those logs have been cut for about a year now. Obviously, towards, you know, 1 stick away from the ends is still fairly wet, but he said he doesn't care. He said in that outdoor furnace he can burn green wood or whatever. It doesn't bother him, but I think it probably lowers your BTUs and efficiency and creates more creosote, but if he don't care, I don't care, so anyway, I'm pretty happy with this little saw. I'll be honest with you. I'll probably do like a full review of it on my review channel, but that'll be another time because I want to use it a little more before I go ahead and recommend it or whatever. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. It's so light that I can carry it around all day and it's totally fine. And it's got an 18-inch bar on it, so you know, everything I cut here, it cut clean through, so I've got no complaints about it whatsoever, and it cut fast. I mean, you know, if I went over there where I first started cutting, it would probably be more bigger chunks, but I mean, this was towards the last bit that I cut, and it's fairly chunky, so the chain stayed good and sharp the whole time, even though a lot of these logs had, you know, dirt and crap on the underside from just laying on the ground, but the chain's still sharp. I did have to tighten it up a little bit because it's a new chain and it got a little slop in it, but that's to be expected. Well, anyway, there's what we did.